What's up, Broncos country? How's it going tonight, guys? So me and Muhammad are back this week to talk about. Actually, we have a lot of news to cover, and we also have the schedule release this coming up Wednesday, which me and Muhammad will do a video on that next weekend. We'll go through game by game next week, and give our, I guess you could say, way too early predictions. You know, like what part of the year the game's going to be in. If we think the Broncos are going to win or lose. And I have a big treat for you because what I think is going to happen is probably going to shock a lot of people. So, but with that said, the first thing I wanted to get into, Mohammed, is I wanted to get your takes on this. So yesterday and today and tomorrow, rookie minicamp is taking place. What are your thoughts about it so far? Like, we have heard that pretty much every rookie has signed his contract outside, I think, Harvey and Barron, but they're playing on like the injury reserve guarantee thing or whatever. But not to worry, they're going to sign their contracts. But what was your overall take that rookie mini camps here, and have you heard anything about the rookies?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of excited that we finally get to see some. I mean, I've seen some couple of videos from our rookies. I think the media is only allowed today, from what I understand. It started yesterday. It's kind of hard to see what the players are doing because they're not in pads yet. But I've heard pretty good things about our rookies. I mean, Byrne, I heard he's pretty like running and being all fast and showing his speed and all that stuff. Brian too, I've heard some good things about him. Looking really sharp. Really hard to see what they're doing because the coverage is limited, but I'm excited that it's actually bringing us closer to the season. You know, so that's what I have to say about that. What you got?
Yeah, I've been kind of on X the since yesterday and today, just kind of watching. From what I heard, Barron, our first round corner, he's been out there, running around. He's been, knocking balls down. He's been playing really, really good during rookie mini camp. I heard yesterday that, I mean, I haven't really heard nothing from today so much. Well, I mean, there's a few videos on X right now, but
Yeah.
the one thing I have seen about today was, well, yesterday apparently Harvey dropped a lot of passes, to start off rookie minicamp, which I seen a lot of people freak out about. I'm like, dude, it's rookie. Like, don't you guys remember like just a year ago when Bo Nix was having like, a couple of bad throws here or there, even in training camp, like people were freaking out about it. And it's like, dude, they're rookies. They just got there. Yesterday was their first day. Now, I'm looking at a thing right now that says, source says, Harvey has not dropped a single pass today, and he's out there running. He's leading the running backs. So, he's looking good. Barron's looking good. Pat Tillman's out there looking good, catching a lot of balls. Haven't heard anything about him dropping anything. Um, as far as all the other rookies like Jones, the punter Crenshaw, I'm trying to think who's the tight end, the big 6'7" guy
Mhm.
that we drafted in the seventh round. Haven't really heard too much. All I keep hearing is how big he is, and he's gonna be the next. Who was the tight end in New Orleans that was 6'7"?
Jimmy
I forgot.
Graham.
Jimmy Brown, I
Mhm.
think, or
Yeah.
Ingram. I can't remember which tight end it was, but pretty much every comparison I see to this kid is the same. He like people are talking about Evan Ingram being like the starting tight end, which he's going to be to start the season. We know this, but I've been reading them, watching a lot of people say that by the end of the year they would not be surprised if this seventh round 6 foot 7 foot tall tight end takes over the role as tight end one. Now that's some pretty big shoes to fill for a seventh round guy. Like a lot of people I've seen too also said like a lot of people like I think like the Jags, there was a couple other teams that were thrown in there that were really eager to sign this kid as an unrestricted or an undrafted free agent. And the Broncos swooped in and got him in the seventh round because they knew there were a lot of teams that were wanting him. Now, it's still a seventh round. Now, I'm not saying a seventh rounder can't come out to be something, just like the sixth rounder, fifth rounder, fourth rounder. Just because they're drafting those rounds doesn't mean they can't be a superstar. I mean, you've seen the likes of, who was it? Jonathan Cooper, our pass rusher that got paid, one of our star pass rushers. He was a seventh round pick or a sixth round. I can't remember exactly which. I mean, I don't want to say this. I'm not trying to compare, a 6'7" tight end, a different position from a different position. But Tom Brady was what was he, a sixth or a seventh round pick? Like, just because you're drafted that late in the draft doesn't mean you can't be a superstar. And I'm kind of hoping this kid does turn into that. He was a basketball player, like I said, 6'7". He's the kind of guy that can literally just reach up above everybody else, and just snag the ball with one hand. Like, he's so tall, like he can literally just reach up and no one can be able to stop him. Like, if he could just master if he could just get good at catching, if he can master route running, this kid's going to be a freaking demon to deal with over the middle of the field. No linebacker, safety, or corner is going to want to deal with him because he's too damn tall and
It's
he's
a big
pretty
advantage.
dang big too. So, but we'll have to wait. Probably won't hear much from like the later guys. It's mostly the top three. Like I said, Pat Bryant, RJ Harvey, Barron. Those guys are the ones you're probably going to hear most about at rookie minicamp. You might hear like that's where you're probably going to see most of the stuff going. You'll probably see little tidbits and hear little tidbits about the other guys, like the later round picks. Um, but also I wanted to get your take on this, Muhammad. Um, as of right now, every single rookie that I'm pretty sure, like all the rookies that we actually drafted in the rounds of the draft, not undrafted free agents. RJ, I'm sorry, not RJ. Pat Bryant, Jones, Crenshaw, Lutner, I think his name is the tight end. There's another one in there somewhere. I forgot. Excuse me. But they've all signed their rookie contracts. I'm sorry, Barron and Harvey have not yet, but they're playing under the injury guarantee clause during rookie minicamp. They're gonna get done, but are you worried at all about that, Muhammad, or no?
No, no, it's probably their agent just trying to make sure that his players are getting a good deal in case some happen. I'm not worried about it. I mean, they're just doing their due diligence and they have the right to do so. I'm not worried about it.
And I've also seen before too. I'm not worried either because like usually the Broncos are always one of the last teams to sign the rookies to their rookie contracts. Like last year, I think Bo Nix was the last rookie to sign his contract. Like all the other rookies signed theirs. Bo Nix was like the last one. And I remember watching X last year and people freaking out like, "Oh my god, are they going to sign Bo Nix? Is he going to, try to pull something and get out of here?" It's like, no, they're like you said, Mohammed, they're working through the finer details, making sure they got everything up to speed. Like they're going to get signed.
Exactly.
But, usually the earlier round picks, like the first rounders, second rounders, sometimes even the third rounders, take a little bit longer. And the Broncos themselves already take, longer than almost any NFL team to sign their rookies. So don't sweat it. They're going to sign. And, I'm really excited about that. Next up, Mohammed, I don't know if you got these wrote down, but next I want to go over the new rookies. I want to go over their jersey numbers and what you think about them. So, first off, I mean, and these could change throughout the offseason. Like these could be just temporary numbers until the season starts or preseason. But right now, we got Barron, our corner that we drafted this year. We got him sitting at 12. What do you think of that number?
That's pretty cool, man. That's a good number. The only honestly the only one I looked at the numbers, Eddie. The only one that is a little bit odd for me is Brian. I'm not superstitious, but why would you give the guy that number? Come on, man.
I know where you're going with this.
Juju, right?
No, no. Wait. Why are you saying you think it's bad juju? Where are you going with this? Just because it's number
13.
13?
Yeah.
No, no. I actually saw this, but we'll get to that in a minute. I'll tell you what I saw the other day. But Baron, I like 12 for that. I mean, it might change by the regular season, but at the same time, I mean, Pastor Sertan wears too. Like, I would not be surprised if Baron stays at 12. But if I had to pick, I would like to see him maybe wear like 28 or something. But next up is Harvey. This
Okay.
one's got a lot of people like, I don't really like it. And it's probably going to change. He's got the number 37. What do you think of that for Harvey?
Yeah, I don't care for that number neither, Eddie. Like I don't like odd numbers. It's weird, but like you said, it's not permanent. We don't know that numbers that those could change at any moment, like whenever the season starts. So we shall see.
I'd like to see him wear. I know a lot of people are gonna, say no. Well, I mean, Lindsay did it, but I like to see him wear number 30.
Okay.
to support and maybe where he could be like maybe our next Terrell Davis. I know that's asking a lot. I'm not saying he's going to be Terrell Davis, but it'd be just pretty cool to see him wear that number because I loved it when Lindsey wore number 30.
Lindsay, yeah.
You know, it was pretty cool to watch. Next up, you kind of already gave your take on this, but next one up is Brian, the receiver. I love it. Like this to me, like I mean, I'm not saying this in the term that I think we're the Denver Saints, but this is Michael Thomas's number. Like Brian is here in Denver what Mike Thomas was in New Orleans. That's what Sean Payton's trying to recreate here. Like, yes, you have Sutton. Yes, you have Vele. Sutton's going to be 30 this year. Vele's going to be 27. Like, he was an older rookie last year. Brian, I think, what is he, 23 or something, or 20? I can't remember what age he is exactly, but I know he's in his early 20s. Dude, this guy is going to be the next Michael Thomas. That is what Sean Payton is looking for. That's what Sean Payton drafted this kid to be. And the fact that he took number 13, just like Michael Thomas had in freaking New Orleans, I'm loving it. Like, I don't care. Some people are like, oh, I don't want to be the Denver Saints. I want to be the Denver. I don't care. Let people call us whatever the hell they want to call us. Is if we're winning, I really don't care. If we're winning Super Bowls and kicking the crap out of the Chiefs, you can call us the Denver or you can call us the New Orleans Broncos. I don't care. Just win. That's all I care about. And that's why I love that number for him. Next up is Savion Jones, the defensive end we drafted. He got the number 95. What do you think about this, Muhammad?
I mean, I know like defensive players usually get late numbers. That's pretty, I don't know, pretty high for me. But
could we be looking at the next Derek Wolf?
I guess that's what they're going for. Yeah. Oh my God, man, Dirk Wolf was something, wasn't he?
Yeah, like he was like. I mean, I'm not gonna say Jones is gonna be Derek Wolf. I'm not gonna say any of these players are gonna be ex Broncos that if they're wearing a certain number, whatever. But it's possible. Just like you can't sit here and say that because people will lose their minds. You can be like, oh well, Jones or Brian are gonna be like Michael Thomas or Derek Wolf. You can't say that because then people will lose their minds. But there's one thing that Mark Schlereth has always said that's really stuck with me, and I love it. Like, yes, these are young guys now. They got to go out there and prove it, of course. But right now, just like Mark Schlereth did all them years ago, he doesn't have the name recognition yet. Just like a few years ago, Nick Benito didn't have the name recognition. Well, guess what? After last year, Nick Benito has that name recognition. People were looking up Nick Benito on their things like, who is this guy? And people out there are trying to find their next Nick Benito, their next star pass rusher that can get after the quarterback. So, like, I'm like I said, I'm not saying that they are, but it's like that's some big shoes to fill for these guys. But if they can become the next person, that next player, that next Michael Thomas, that next Derek Wolf, that next whoever, the next Terrell Davis, this team is going to be electric, and no one's going to be able to stop us. Next up, we got the outside linebacker Robinson. He took the jersey number 51. Now I think who was it? Todd Davis wore 51, but he was an inside backer. But what were your thoughts on this one, Mohammed?
It's kind of interesting, Eddie, because it sounds to me that those numbers are not picked randomly, right? I mean, maybe they're trying to tell us something. It's like you said, Todd Davis wore it. He was an inside linebacker, but I don't know, Eddie. Like, does it have anything? Because with Bryant wearing 13, this is not a coincidence, maybe.
Jones wearing 95, Robinson wearing 51.
Yeah.
Now, of course, these numbers are open. They're not retired, so players can use them. But there's other numbers out there they could use, and it's just like, I mean, whenever you get later in the draft, it's kind of like, whatever. But like if someone like a first or second or third round pick take a number of like a Hall of Fame type caliber player, because usually I'd say up until about the fourth round, those guys can be starters. I mean, it's very rare for a fourth or maybe even a third rounder sometimes to become starters, but they can be. And with the way the Broncos know how to draft and find talent, George Payton, I'm pretty sure Nick Benito was a fourth round pick. Or was he a third? I can't remember.
I think a third.
Third, okay. Like I said, Jonathan Cooper, he was a seventh. there's a few other players in there that we've talked about that, are late round picks and they become studs. Like, I'm just saying, like, it's going to be fun to watch this year, man. Like, I don't know if these players picking these numbers has any meaning behind it. It could. I'm not sure, but I can't wait for the season, man. That's going to be so much fun.
Eddie,
Next
this is
up,
a different topic, but did you hear about Abdul Carter saying he wants to wear Lawrence Taylor's number? Did you hear about that?
what was Lawrence Hurd's number? 57, right?
Yeah, I forgot what the number was, but he has the nerve to say he's. I'm like, come on, dude. I know he's gonna be talented. I know he's gonna be good, but you haven't even played one snap, and you're asking to get that number. Come on, man.
I'm surprised that number's not retired,
I think it
to be
is.
honest with you.
I think it
Is it?
is.
Well, if it is, like, he would have to probably, I think, get permission from the Giants and Strahan himself in order to wear it.
It's crazy.
If it's retired. If it wasn't retired, Philip Lindsay didn't have to ask Terrell Davis to wear his number if, since his number wasn't retired. But it was just a show of respect, like,
Exactly.
hey, you know. Um, but next up, this number is definitely going to change, I think, is Crenshaw, the punter. He's got number 39. What do you think about this, Mohammed?
Yeah, like I said, it's most likely going to change. I guess he just picked it because he was open.
I
It's good.
think I think like punters and kickers, I like their numbers when they're in the single digits. Like, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7, or 8, or 9. I know PS2's got, like I said, he's got, what is it, 2. You got who is the other one? I think Jared Stidham wears 8, if I remember correctly. I can't remember who else is it. Oh, Ingram's gonna wear 1. We know that. Hufanga's gonna wear 9. So basically you got, and no one's gonna wear 7. Like, we know that. That number's retired. It's done. So you basically got 3, 4, 5, I think 6, and then 8. So you got 5 single numbers. Oh wait, no. Will Lutz wears 3. So you ain't gotta worry about that one either. Um, but yeah, I think it's gonna change. I don't like when punters wear high or kickers wear high numbered jerseys. It just doesn't look right to me. I mean, I'm not gonna be mad about it if that's the case. It just doesn't look right to me personally. And um, but guys, please get your comments in. Like, comment, subscribe on this video. Also hit the bell notification so you know when we go live. And the last one, Muhammad. Now this could be another sign, depending on how you take it. This could be another sign. Another Broncos legends number was taken by our 7th round tight end, Lochner. Yeah, Lochner. Um, he's taking jersey number 84, Shannon Sharp's old number. What's your thoughts?
Eddie, like, I'm Loner. I'm really, really excited about him, and I honestly think that that's going to be Sean Payton's secret weapon. And the reason why he drafted him because he knew teams were gonna, if he goes unrestricted, undrafted, teams were ready to snap him. So that's why he went ahead and got him. And honestly, think we're gonna be sitting here in a few years talking about how good he is. You know, so
Yep.
yeah, yeah.
The Jags already had a deal lined up with him if he wouldn't have got drafted in the draft. Like, if he was, he didn't make it through it, or if he got through the draft on, not picked, the Jags already had a contract waiting for him. And there was a few other teams too. But I don't know. I hope Sean Payton can turn this kid into the next Shannon Sharp or the next, Jimmy Graham or whoever. I hope he does do it. I really freaking do, because that would be amazing. You got this massive freaking tight end. If you can just get him to run routes and catch the ball and just block, dude, oh my God. Could you imagine having that kind of a tight end over the middle? For Bo Nix should just be like safety blanket. Boom, boom, boom.
Nobody,
Defenses ain't
what
going to
are you
stand a
gonna do?
chance.
You need like a freaking ladder to catch. Like, I mean, come on.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Yeah, it's crazy, man. I'm so excited, man. I can't wait. Also, there's one more thing I wanted to touch on before we move on to the schedule. We'll talk about like all the games. So we're not going to go through them one by one. We'll do that next week, but we'll talk about Broncos opponents and we'll talk about the one game that got leaked. But the last thing I want to touch on here was I don't know if you heard this, Muhammad, but I kind of heard it. It was kind of a small tidbit I saw earlier on Facebook. I don't know if it's 100% true, but I heard yesterday, or was it today, that Desmond Ritter was at Broncos camp, throwing.
Yeah.
I know the Broncos are probably going to carry three quarterbacks this year, and Desmond Ritter would just be another Zach Wilson, just be the third guy on the depth chart because we know Bo Nix is the starter. Jared Stidham's going to be the, quarterback too. And then, like I said, Sean Payton, he likes to carry three quarterbacks. So, um, with that said, what were your thoughts on this? Did you hear about this? And if you did, what were your thoughts on Desmond Ritter coming in?
I heard. I thought it was kind of interesting for them to go with him specifically. I don't think he did, a lot. Being like going from one team to another. But I think it's another maybe a little project for Sean Payton. As far as bringing in a quarterback that not necessarily have done some good things, on other teams, giving him another chance and see if he can improve and all that. So, and like we said, Sean Payton likes to carry three quarterbacks, so that might be our third quarterback. I think they did bring in some other ones too. Another one, I think, like an undrafted free agent or somebody. Forgot the name of that quarterback, but they got another one too.
Yeah, I didn't hear about yeah, they did bring in an undrafted free agent quarterback. I can't remember who it was though, off the top of my head. I don't know if he's still here. He probably just they didn't sign these guys to contracts. They literally just brought him in to just see what they had and throw. Like, would I be like? I'm not like I'm not saying it's going to be Desmond Ritter, but I know for a fact the Broncos are probably going to sign another third string quarterback for the season. Like, that's still months away, though. We still got, what is this? May, June, July, August. You got 4 more months until the season starts. The Broncos are going to honestly, in training camp, they're going to bring another quarterback in and sign him to the 53-man roster. And because I can't remember, was Zach Wilson actually on the active roster all last year? Or was he on the practice squad? I can't remember.
Okay, I mean, I think he
But
was active. I think he was active.
okay, so I'm pretty sure the Broncos are probably going to bring another third string. They're going to bring a third string quarterback in, on the 53-man roster. And I'm because like they only have so many times they can, elevate somebody from the practice squad and then put them back down on the practice squad. Because every time they elevate them and they send them back down, he has to go through waivers, and if he clears, he can sign back with the Broncos practice squad. But like I said, there's only so many times, but I don't think Sean Payton's going to do that. I think he's going to keep three quarterbacks on this roster at all times. Like, God forbid, knock on wood, Nick's never gets freaking hurt. I hope that never happens. But, or even to the case where you have to get down to your third string QB. Like, say, Bo Nix and Stidham both get hurt. But we have the best line in the league, and Bo Nix ain't Russell Wilson. He ain't running himself into sacks. So we should
Yeah.
be good with that aspect. But moving on to our next topic, the Broncos 2025 schedule. Now, as you all know, Wednesday night or sometime Wednesday mid-afternoon, evening, the 2025 NFL schedule gets released. Excuse me. But I want to go over and talk about all the Broncos, opponents this year. We're not going to go over game by game yet and, give our way early two predictions. We're just going to go over and be like, these are the games we have at home. These are the games we have away. And we'll go over and we'll kind of grade. Me and Muhammad will put a grade on what we think the Broncos schedule averages out to. But first, the biggest thing I've seen so far, like the only game I think I've seen leaked so far was a Broncos game. And it was week 6 matchup against the Jets in London, the Denver Broncos. What was your initial thoughts to this, Mohammed?
Really cool, Eddie, because I love international games, not just for the Broncos, for the brand of the NFL in general, because I want other countries to see to learn more about the NFL, American football and stuff. I travel a lot, and a lot of people don't know what it is. So this is actually a chance. I always liked when the NFL started doing this. Now I see there's games in Germany too. They were doing them in Mexico, I think, but they stopped. But yeah, it's amazing, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna beat the Jets in London, in front of the whole world.
You're
So
damn right we are.
yeah,
But yeah, I was excited, man. Whenever I first saw it, like I said, I haven't seen any other games leaked. I'm sure they're out there, but I'm just too dumb to find them right now. But whenever I saw that, I was like, okay, we're gonna play the Jets. I think this is like the fourth or fifth year in a row we've played the Jets. We played them in last year and we beat them in New York. The year before we played them, because we had Russell Wilson, and there was a big storyline because Sean Payton was talking smack about Nathaniel Hackett. We lost that game, unfortunately.
Yeah.
2022, I believe we played them. We played them in 2021 and 2020. We played them the last 5 years. Like we always play the Jets. Like that's like another division team to us. Seriously,
Mhm.
like we've been playing them for like the last 5 years. Um, but anyway, with that said, now here are the Broncos have 9 home games this year, and they have 8 away games. Now, I'm gonna list off the home games first, or actually, no, I'll do the away games first, and they'll do the home games, and then me and you, Muhammad, will give a grade on what we think. How this schedule is. Like if do we give it like a for it being super easy, or do we give it an F like it's almost impossible? Like what the hell, and everything in between. So to start the away series off, of course, you got your 3 division rivals. You have those games every year. You have Kansas City, Los Angeles, and the Raiders. Um, you got the Houston Texans. You got the Indianapolis Colts, the Philadelphia Eagles, which to me is the hardest game of the year for us.
I agree.
The Washington Commanders and the New York Jets. What do you think, and which game are you looking forward to out of the away games to watch?
Um, I think the Eagles for sure. That's gonna be a tough one. I'm eager to watch that one. The Commanders because I think they're pretty good, and the fact that Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix was drafted in the same. Yeah, you follow. Yeah,
I'm
so
so happy to watch that matchup.
yeah, I'm excited about that game. I'll try because it's not too far from me. I'll try to go watch that game. Go actually and watch it live. Hopefully, I can do that. That's going to be exciting. The Eagles do scare me. Um, I mean, they won the Super Bowl. They did lose a lot of players, but still, they're a pretty good team. It's going to be a good competition for our team, I think. As far as the schedule in general, Eddie, I hope we don't get hard opponents to start the season. You know, I hope it's easier. So because we got a lot of rookies, so for everything to kind of start meshing and stuff, and then it gets harder as we go. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, on the away games portion, like I said, the biggest game of the year to me, the biggest matchup that we're gonna have, people would say Kansas City. I don't think it is because Kansas City is gonna take a step back. The Eagles are gonna be a hard matchup, I believe. And honestly, I still believe it's going to be a hard matchup. I think KC's going to be a hard matchup too, but the Eagles have lost a lot of players. Now, I am going to say that the Eagles do take a step back this year. I don't think they're going to be as good as last year. Like they lost Sweat. I mean, they lost so many, especially on the defensive side. They've lost so many pieces. So I think the Eagles are still the best team on our schedule that we face this year. But honestly, you know, they're not unbeatable. Like they are very beatable. Like with all the pieces they lost, they are very beatable. You can say the same thing for Kansas City. Travis Kelsey's old. He's done. He's washed. He should have just retired. Andy Reid, it doesn't look like he wants to do it. Like he's even contemplating retirement after this year. They're all the Chiefs' offensive line horrible. Their defense is getting up there in age, and they're not as dominating as they once was. Neither is the offense. So they're not the scary juggernaut Chiefs that we knew in the past. But out of all the all the away games, like even the Texans, I'm not scared of. Their O line's atrocious. Our defensive line's going to eat that freaking O line
A
apart.
lot.
It really will. Um, but the one game I am looking forward to is the one you kind of touched on, Mohammed. That's the Commanders game. I want to see Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix go head to head. I really do. Like, did we see Bo Nix go against any of the other rookies last year? We didn't play the Bears. We didn't play the Patriots. Of course, we didn't play the Command. We played the Falcons, but Kirk Cousins played most of that game. Penix only came in like the last 3 minutes. That was the
Right.
game I went to. Penix only played like the last 3 minutes of that game. The game was already over at that point. So Bo Nix hasn't really played any rookie, or he hasn't played any quarterbacks in his class. He only, I think, yeah. Let's see. He only
Anyway, we
plays.
played the Vikings, did we?
No, we didn't.
We
Well,
did.
no, we played him in the. Did we play him in the preseason last year?
I think we played, but
No.
I don't remember. But I mean, he was like JJ McCarthy was hurt anyway, so he wouldn't.
Yeah. So pretty much, this is going to be the first game, the Commanders game, where Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels face. Now, this could be a freaking rivalry like Peyton and Brady, or Big Ben and Peyton. Like this could be a rivalry like that, man. I am so excited. I want this rivalry to start off right. I want Bo Nix to get the huge dub over the Commanders. And honestly, the Commanders, yeah, they made it to the NFC Championship game last year, but I think that was just a fluke. That was just beginner's luck. And um personally, like the NFC is so much weaker. Like the Broncos, like to me, I said this last year. The only reason why Jaden Daniels even won the Offensive Rookie of the award last year was because of two things to me. One, that big Hail Mary he had in that Chicago game last year that he just threw up a prayer and it got caught and they won that game. And the fact that he made it to the NFC Championship game. I'm just like, okay, and do you not realize that the AFC is more stacked with young, good, elite quarterbacks than the NFC? I mean, who do you have in the NFC is considered as good as Josh Allen or Joe Burrow or Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson or even CJ Stroud to an extent? Jalen Hurts? I think that's the list. Like, I mean, can you think of any other young QBs on the NFC side that's, and even Jalen Hurts, he's not, I wouldn't even say he's as good as CJ Stroud is. Yeah, he won a Super Bowl, but that was because of the defense. The defense shut out the Chiefs. And it was the defense and Saquon is what won that Super Bowl for the Eagles this past year. So honestly, I couldn't even say that. Like, I'm trying to think, the top 4 or 5 quarterbacks in the AFC, Jalen Hurts doesn't even come close to that, and he's the best in the NFC, in my opinion. So, I'm not too worried about it. I think Jaden Daniels, he had an easier route to get to the NFC Championship game last year, but I can't wait for that game, dude. Like, I can't wait to see those two battle it out. I really can't. I wish he was in the AFC, though, Jaden Daniels. I really do. That way we get, like, he's in our conference, and we know we had to face him. If we were to make the playoffs at least once a year, we had to face him, probably.
I mean,
But
Eddie, that get flexed out depending on what our record is and the Commanders' record is. If they're both
yeah.
hot, you know.
Well, also at the same, like I was just thinking about it. Think about all the rookie quarterbacks that were taken, like all the quarterbacks that were taken last year. Caleb, NFC. Um, Commanders, Jaden Daniels, NFC. JJ McCarthy, NFC. Michael Penix, NFC. The only two quarterbacks I got taken in the AFC were Bo Nix and Drake May. That was it. They got to get more quarterbacks over there in the NFC, man, because the AFC is just taking all of them. It seems like. But with that said, let's talk about the home games next. We got 9 home games, and man, I know I'm going to at least 2. My wife wants to go to the Chiefs one, and I want to go to the Giants one so I can watch a spank Russell Wilson if he's playing. By the way, like I don't know if it's gonna be him, Jameis, or even who's the other guy, Jackson Dart. I think they drafted.
Yeah.
It just depends on what part of the season that's in. Because like if it's early, it's probably gonna be Russell or Jameson. But once the season's like lost, that's probably when you're gonna see Jackson Dart out there getting some playing time. But out of all the games, we got, of course, once again, all 3 division rivals at home. Then you got the Jags at home, the Titans, the Cowboys, the Giants, the Bengals, the Packers. Dude, the only hard game to me at home, like the only team that kind of scares me is not the Chiefs, not the Chargers. It's
Packers.
the Bengals. The
okay.
Bengals. Joe Burrow, like they don't have an offensive line that's that good, but they got Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and they got Joe Burrow. Like that does scare me. The Chiefs, I can deal with. Travis Kelce's old. All the receivers are trash. Kansas City, because our corners are going to lock them the hell down. Patrick Mahomes, I like. He's nothing without a good run game, and he doesn't even have a run game. Isaiah Pacheco is done. He has no offensive line. Their defense is shambles. The Chargers, once again, my worry. Then you got the Jags and Titans, who were both garbage. They were both 3rd and 4th in their division last year. And the Titans got a rookie quarterback. Trevor Lawrence looks like he was so hyped up, and now he just looks like nothing anymore. Um, with that said, though, it's like, then the Cowboys. Are we seriously scared of the Cowboys at all?
That's the game I want to watch, Eddie. Really.
I'm not even scared of the Cowboys. I'm not. And then the Giants, of course, like we talked about, and then the Packers. Like, I'm not scared. We beat them 2 years ago and we had Russell Wilson. I'm not worried about them either. But overall, what's your take on the home schedule and which game are you looking forward to the most?
Usually it'll be maybe the Raiders because I hate the Raiders, but I'm not really worried about them. I mean, the Chargers, they'll compete. It's not going to be an easy game for us, definitely. But honestly, Eddie, like I really want to see the game against the Cowboys. For some reason, the Cowboys just they have an issue every time they play the Broncos, even if they're hot and the Broncos are not doing too well, they just lose. I don't know what it is, but you remember all the games, right? They just have such a hard time playing the Broncos, and I always make fun of them on Facebook, and I can't wait. This time it's not going to be any difference. I'll be waiting, for
The
that
last
spank.
time we played the Cowboys was 2021. It was Vic Fangio's last year as head coach.
Yeah.
And we went to Dallas and played them, and we spanked them.
Yeah.
The final score was 30-16, but the game wasn't even that close. They literally scored 2 garbage time touchdowns with like 5 minutes left to go and 2 2-point conversions. That was it. The Broncos, like with Teddy freaking Bridgewater, destroyed the Cowboys. The Cowboys team that was hot, that was first in their division. They were like one of the top teams in the NFC that year. And we just went to their house and we're like, really? We deal with the Chiefs twice a year. Who the hell are you guys?
They struggle. They always
So,
struggle. Yeah.
that's going to be a fun game. The Broncos are going to kill them. Like, after what we saw last year and the fact that I don't know if Dak Prescott's going to be the same quarterback. He's 30-something years old. He's had 2 really gruesome, horrible injuries in his career. And their head coach, I don't even know who their head coach is. Like Schottenheimer. Like, has anybody even heard of this guy ever?
He's a yes man. He's going to say yes to Mr. Jones.
We're going to kill him. The Cowboys are going to die when they come to Mile High City. I can tell you that much.
I know they can't. They won't be able to breathe. That's for sure. Go get some oxygen.
But that game will be the return of Javonte Williams to Denver. Now watch him be like Jerry Jeudy and pop off for like 150 to 200
You just
yards.
said that just came into my mind. We're talking about the Cowboys, and then there's always this game that we supposed to win. We don't. I hope
there's
that's
always
not
one game there's always one game a year where we're not supposed to win, but we win. There's always one game a year that we're supposed to be, oh, this is money in the bag for us. We're going to win this. And then we lose. And it's like,
yeah.
Would you trade that though? Like say we could guarantee we beat the Chiefs this year or the Eagles, one of those two, pick one. Hey, you're guaranteed to beat. I mean, I'm not even going to say the Chiefs. I know we're going to beat them. I ain't worried about that. Say like someone came up to you and say, hey, you can beat the Eagles. You're going to beat them in Philadelphia, but you're going to have to lose to either say the Cowboys at home, the Giants at home, or who was the other one that was really terrible? You got to lose to the Titans, Giants, or Cowboys at home, but you get to beat the Eagles. Would you take that deal, Mohammed?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the Giants and Cowboys, if you lose to them, who cares? It's not it's not a conference game anyway. That's they're in the other conference. Like, if I could take down the best team that just won the Super Bowl in the Eagles, I'd rather take them down than the Cowboys, personally.
But I just enjoy making fun of the Cowboys, Eddie, because I know a lot of Cowboys fans around, because I'm on the East Coast. There's a lot of Cowboys fans, I could just make fun of them. It's fun.
But overall, Mohammed, what would you give what grade would you give the scheduling this year? Like the teams that we play, with A being like, oh my God, this is super easy, and F being like, holy crap, this is impossible.
I think more like a B, maybe a C plus, somewhere around there, Eddie. It's somewhere in the middle. It's not too hard, it's not too easy, but it's definitely easier than hard, I would say.
I give it about a B plus, just under an A minus. Like I give it about a B plus. Like I said, like the only team that really truly scares me is the Eagles. Like even the Bengals, their defense is still atrocious. Like every team that we play against this year has a major flaw that we can exploit. The Eagles are the only one I can think of that don't. I mean, yeah, they lost a lot of players, but I hate to say it, the Eagles are really, really good at drafting.
They are.
And they drafted some studs in the freaking draft. I think who'd they get this year? They were
David
picked.
Becker, the end of the first round. I forgot his
Yeah,
name.
so they're going to stack that defense. The Eagles are the only team I can see on our schedule that's a full, complete team. The Chiefs are falling apart. Like, they're getting old. They're falling apart. The Chargers, they're not fully there yet either. Like, they still got some issues on the offensive line. We don't know what our Marion Hampton's going to be. They don't have any wide receivers. They don't have a tight end. Um, I'm trying to think. The Raiders, what a joke. Jacksonville, seriously. Titans, once again, seriously. The Colts, they're a mess. Like, they freaking signed Daniel Jones to compete with freaking Anthony Richardson. The Packers, I'm not worried about either. They're very, very beatable. Um, the Bengals, once again, they have no defense. The Cowboys, please. And then like the other ones, the Texans, I'm not worried about bad offensive line. Jets, they're in a rebuilding phase. Who are some of the other ones I mentioned or that were on that list? Let me take a look here. The Commanders, they're good, but they still have a few holes. So yeah, like the only team that's a complete team on our schedule this year would be the Eagles, in my opinion. So I'm not too worried. I give it a B plus. Like the only thing that would stop me from giving it an A, at least an A minus, is like if you swap out the Eagles, and I'd say probably the Bengals, because the Bengals still have a really good offense. You swap those two teams out, and you put in say like the Saints again, or I'm trying to think, probably maybe the Browns again. I would give it probably like an A. Like honestly, you swipe out the Bengals for the Browns, and you swipe out say who did I say the Saints for the Eagles. That would be a beautiful schedule to have.
But
Um,
Eddie, the Bengals don't scare me. I honestly think they're gonna struggle. Our defense is no joke, so they're gonna
no, you're,
struggle.
you're right,
Easy
but
for
I
them to.
still think even with our defense being top tier in the NFL, I still think like the defense is going to get them shut them down at the end. Like if it comes to bend or break, like hey, we need the defense to make a stop to win this game against the Bengals, they'll do it. It's just I think it will be a fight throughout the game because they still have that high powered offense. They really do. Like Joe Burrow scares me more than Patrick Mahomes does because Joe Burrow is actually a quarterback that can read a defense. He can actually win from the pocket. Patrick Mahomes has got to do all this Houdini shit to do anything. So, but with that said, the next thing up I want to talk about, not really Broncos related, but I kind of wanted to touch on this. I'm sure you saw the news along with everybody else today that Derek Carr is retiring from the Saints. And first, I wanted to get your take on that, and then we'll jump into who we think the quarterback might be or what the Saints could do at quarterback. But initially, what was your reaction to finding out Derek Carr retired?
It was definitely a surprise, Eddie. I didn't see this happening. I know he was injured, and I thought he was coming back. Didn't think the Saints really drafted a quarterback like on the first round, so it just seemed like he was coming back. Didn't see it happening, but I guess whatever the injury was, he did his shoulder, and I know when he played for the Raiders, he had like a broken foot or something. He suffered some injuries, so I guess it just came down to the future and how that's going to look for him. So maybe that's the best decision for him and his family. It's sad to see him go, honestly, Eddie. I mean, I always liked him. I know he played for the team that I hate the most, the Raiders, but he's always like a decent quarterback and a good person too. Like I always enjoyed the way he played, that dog mentality, if you would. He wouldn't stop. He's relentless. He keep coming. But yeah, I mean, it's surprising. If this happened before the draft, maybe the Saints would have reacted differently as far as the draft. But it's happening now, so I guess they're gonna have to go ahead and deal with it.
Yeah, I agree. I liked watching Derek Carr, even though he played for a division rival. I mean, he was in New Orleans for what, only a couple of years. I think this is gonna be like his third or second year.
Third, I
Or
think.
no, this is gonna be his third year because his first year, I think it was 2023. He played a full season
Yeah.
in New Orleans, and then last year he played like the first like couple of games, and he got hurt and he was out the rest of the season. Um, but with that said, like I'm pretty sure, like before the draft, or I can't remember. Was it before the draft? I can't remember if it was before or after the draft. Is I think it was before that they thought Derek Carr had a chance to come back next year. So I think that's why they didn't take a quarterback because they're like, oh, well, we're going to have Derek Carr next year. But even with that, they did draft a quarterback. But I think that Shaw, what was his name? Shaw or whatever, or Saw. I can't
So
remember how you say his last name. They drafted him in what was it, like the fourth or fifth round or something from
so
Louisville. Um, so they drafted him. Like I said, they drafted Spencer Rattler last year, and I guess they assumed that Derek Carr was going to be ready to go. And now that he's not, he's retiring because they pretty much, from what I heard, is you know he was going to need surgery on his shoulder. He went to start throwing in March, realized there was something wrong, went to go see the doctor, and they said, yeah, you're going to need surgery. And basically, I think that was going to put him out for all of 2025, and that's why he just decided, like, hey, I'm just going to retire. Um, but now that leaves a gigantic gaping hole for the Saints quarterback position. But yes, they drafted a guy this year, Shaw or Shu. I don't know how to say his name. And then last year they drafted Spencer Rattler. So they got two quarterbacks on the roster, but I don't know if they're going to be able to, like, if those are guys are going to be the future. I really don't. I don't think they will be. And because I would have to believe, Muhammad, I honestly would have to believe that no franchise would be this stupid to be like, well, if Derek Carr is not 100%, we don't know if he's going to be able to start the season or play the whole season, or if he's going to be out indefinitely for sure that we knew. How do you pass? Like, I'm sorry, I don't see how you pass on Shador Sanders. I understand he's got, what is it called? He's got those issues, not on the field, the off the field issues, like his mentality. But come on, like now you're going to be stuck in the situation where you literally don't have a quarterback, and you could have you could have did what the Giants did. Maybe take Jackson Dart, something. Who was the other guy? Jalen Milroe. Maybe you could have took him.
I actually like that quarterback.
Even if you didn't think Shador was worth a first round pick. I mean, the Giants traded up to the first round to get Jackson Dart. You probably didn't have to trade up to get Jackson Dart, to be honest.
I think that
You
was
probably did.
yeah.
You could have got him in the second round. You could have got, like I said, Jalen Milroe in the second round.
Like
You
I
could have at
promised,
least got.
somebody was going to trade up for him, so you should have just stayed where you are. I don't get that one.
I'm just saying, like, you could have very easily got another quarterback in the second round. Still a day two quarterback, yeah, but it's still early in the draft. You're still in the early rounds. You're in round two. You could have drafted one of those guys and at least had him on the roster for, like, hey, we can let him sit for a year. We're going to suck this year anyway, get another high draft pick. And maybe, towards the end of the year, once we're out of the playoffs, just give him some time to play and see. And that way, if he turns out to be the guy, if you see what you see in him and you're like, he's my guy, then you take your first round pick next year, you'd go a million different ways. You'd be like, oh, we can trade back and get more draft capital to rebuild our team through the draft. Or we could, take the best player available at the time. So I don't, unless they're trying to tank this year for, Arch Manning next year, that's the only thing I can think of. But it doesn't make any sense to me. It really doesn't. What are your thoughts on the quarterback position for the Saints now?
Honestly, Eddie, I think if I was the Saints, I would pick up the phone, call the Browns, and say, "Hey, we want to trade for Shador Sanders. Get him in the building. They're probably not going to ask for a high draft pick. Get him now, because if you wait and he starts playing really well, they're going to be asking for something higher, maybe a second round pick." So I would pick up the phone and just listen to what the Browns saying. If the Browns are willing to trade him, maybe they will trade him. So I would do that. Even if they say they want a third round pick next year, that's still a good value, I think, for Shador Sanders. The other options I know we talked about is Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if I want that drama on that building, and I don't even know if His Majesty would accept coming to the Saints, right? Because he still got the Steelers waiting for him. So these are the options they have, or tank and, like you said, just get a quarterback next season.
Yeah, it wouldn't hurt the Saints. Like, I mean, I understand you probably don't want to trade draft capital because you're still kind of like the retirement of Derek Carr saves them $30 million. So that kind of puts them. I think that finally puts the Saints over the cap, like, or not over the cap, but under the cap. Like, they're not in the negative anymore. Like, they can actually. Well, I wouldn't say get anybody, but I think that was like the main issue with the Saints. They just need to start cutting all these old guys and just get their salary. Like, that's what this year. Maybe that's what this year is. It should
Yeah,
not last year or the year before. Cut your players, suck, get a high draft pick. That way you can get a quarterback or whatever, and just freaking get your cap under control. You know, but with that said, it's like now it's like you could very easily go out, get Shador, let Kellen Moore get his guy, go out, get Shador, trade, like you said, like a fourth round pick, and then you could, and just suck this year, get a high draft pick, and then trade all your old aging vets away. Like, get rid of Cameron Jordan, Alvin Kamara, get rid of Michael Thomas,
exactly.
get what you can out of them or just cut them and just save the freaking cap space, man.
Right, start
And
building
then,
around Shador. Yeah, that's
yeah,
what
and
I.
just do that. It would be so much more simpler. Or like who was the other one? Oh, Aaron Rodgers. Like, if I was the Saints, like if I was Kellen Moore, dude, like I said, I would have done all what I just said, and I would not bring Aaron Rodgers in, like, for that drama queen. Like, I would not do it. Like, you don't want to damage your culture. Your first head coaching job, and you're going to bring that guy in. He's literally going to run the team. Kellen Moore ain't going to have no say in anything
We're gonna
there.
get Kellen Moore fired. All the drama he'd be doing.
Like, Kellen Moore is probably going to get fired in a few years if he doesn't fix this, even though it's not his fault why they're in such cap hell. But at least if he gets fired, it's going to be on his own doing and not because of Aaron Rodgers.
I'm gonna
So
be excited if they actually manage to trade for Shador, Eddie.
I would love for him to go to the Saints because even though the Saints are, I mean, they're not so much in cap hell as they used to be. I still think they're a more functional organization than the Browns are. I really do. Like, you got Deshaun Watson there for at least another 3 years minimum. Like, don't get me wrong, Stefanski's a good head coach, but the ownership of the Browns is freaking garbage.
Yeah.
Like, if I was Shador, I'd go to the Saints easily because at least there they have good ownership. They got a good GM and Mickey Loomis. I mean, maybe not so much of contracts. They might want to, have the coach deal with that or something. I don't know, but like, I just feel like New Orleans would be a safer bet and a more secure and, not as hectic place.
Exactly.
Like, the Browns should take freaking Aaron Rodgers. It's hectic there. They should take freaking Aaron Rodgers and let him, be the drama queen that he is there. So
Circus.
that's what I would do. Pick up the phone, call, and see what it takes to get Shador.
Exactly.
It ain't gonna hurt you nothing. I mean, if it's too much, then yeah, don't do it. But if it's like, hey, give us a fourth and we'll give you Shador. I mean, even a fourth, like, yeah, maybe the Browns get a little bit back more than what they got for Shador. But honestly, I think other than his attitude, I think Shador is actually going to be a good quarterback in the NFL. I really do. So, but next up, Muhammad, I wanted to talk about this. You brought this up earlier. What is the possibilities of the Broncos trading, or if he gets released, signing Nick Chubb?
I would love it, Eddie. Why not? I mean, he's out there. I don't think he's gonna ask for a lot of money. I know he's like 29. I think he's old, all the injuries that he had, but maybe he's still got something in the tank. He's a good running back when he was healthy. It wouldn't hurt if he's not asking for a lot of money. Bring him, let him compete. So we have, hey, maybe he's turns out to be good. He help us out. You know, we have an issue with our running game. So the more darts you keep, the more players you keep bringing in that position, the better it is. I think, for the value on what he's going to be asking for. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but I disagree. I would I would not want to bring Nick Chubb in. I think Peyton likes his group of running backs. Like, Jaleel McLaughlin was an unrestricted free agent that was brought in a couple years ago. I think he's got like a year or two left on this deal. Estimate he drafted last year. I think McLaughlin, because we know what like Peyton loves to do. He loves to rotate guys in and out a lot, like receivers, tight ends, running backs. He likes to every single time, like, okay, we're gonna have you run this play, and the next play we're gonna have you run, then we're gonna have this guy in. I think he's set in the backfield. Sean Payton is like You got your running back of the future in RJ Harvey. That's going to be your next, pretty much, I guess you'd say, Alvin Kamara. The running back that can run, can catch the ball out of the backfield. And then you got McLaughlin that can do basically the same thing. He's your speedy scat back out of the backfield. Plus, we see him use Marvin Mims a lot last year in the backfield. I wouldn't be surprised if that continues again this year. And then you also got the bruiser bowling ball that you got at Notre Dame last year, which was Estime. He's going to be your short yardage guy. Like, yo, you need 2-3 yards on third down. Estime, go out there and pound the rock and get it in there and get the first down. Like, I think Sean Payton, like, I don't know, after even last year, man, like kind of like, I hate to say it, but it's kind of the reason why we got rid of, Javonte Williams was because he had that major gross leg injury, just like Nick Chubb had a few years ago. And he wasn't the same player. And Javonte's a lot younger, too. He was only 24.
Yeah.
Nick Chubb is, like you said, 29. Like, I don't like running back, like when a player in general, it doesn't matter what position it is, gets their leg snapped that bad or gets their ACL snapped that terrible, like they're usually never the same player. And I don't think Sean Payton's even going to spend a penny on a running back that someone like that. I think, like, because remember last year how we were talking about it, like, what was it? We were talking about bringing in like bring in a tight end or bring in a receiver, bring in somebody. Payton's like, nah, I'm just going to stay the course and play with what I got. Granted, yes, he didn't have that much flexibility last year because of Russell Wilson's deal, but I think Payton's fine with, developing his own guys and and him seeing what they actually have. Like I said, you got Harvey, that's going to be your starting, caliber running back. That's going to be like the next Alvin Kamara is what Sean Payton's going to try and make him into. You got Jaleel, that's like I said, he's fast. He's a scat back. He can catch the ball out of the backfield and pick up yards. We've seen it last year and the year before. And then you got Estime, like whenever you're like 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, and you need a couple of yards to get the first down, he's your bruiser. I think that's the way Sean Payton's going to do it. I think he likes the guys he has personally. Like, if Nick Chubb was like, if I can, maybe be like, yeah, Nick Chubb could be at least like 80% of what he used to be. If I could guarantee that, then yeah, I'd be like, yeah, bring him in on a cheap deal. But I don't think Sean Payton's going to. And honestly, I just don't want to, not knowing what he's going to be. Like, if we were going to do that, I'd rather just keep Javonte back there.
It's just unknown, right? His condition is unknown. That's the thing.
That too. And running backs, like, they're still a high priority in the NFL, but they're not that high priority, I guess you'd say. Like, people want to talk about, like, oh, well, look what the deal that Barkley and Henry got. Yeah, because those are the two best, like, most elite running backs in the game. Like, those are top tier running backs. Those are like up there with the likes of, like, Hall of Famers like Terrell Davis or stuff like that. Guys that can actually break like 20 tackles on his way to the end zone. Javonte used to be that guy until he got hurt. I remember his first year in the NFL, man. Like, I remember we played against the Ravens one week. There was one play he broke I think 7 tackles.
It was pretty good.
So, yeah, I just don't think Sean Payton's going to do it. I think he's going to stick with the running backs he has, running back by committee. And then the last thing I want to touch on, we're already at 58 and a half minutes. We actually got through an hour, Mohammed. Holy crap. But the last thing I want to talk about is the punter position. Now, I'm sure you heard the news, and I want to get your take on this. Hack, the punter that we signed this past offseason, got cut. The Broncos drafted a punter in the draft. What are your thoughts?
I honestly think Rizzi wanted Crenshaw all along. Hawk was just brought in as like an insurance policy, or just in case we don't get him or somebody drafts him. Even though I thought he might probably go undrafted, that's usually what happens. But yeah, I mean, they believe Crenshaw is the guy. From what I've seen, I think he is the guy. That's the guy Rizzi actually wanted. So, and Sean got him what he wanted. So.
Yeah, I've actually seen I've watched YouTube clips, I've read some articles, and I've actually watched some film. He's really good at punting the guys deep and in the corner, like towards like the corner of the end zone area or close to the sideline. He's really good at punting the ball in that area. Like, he can put it right where it needs to be. So this is going to be our punter of the future. Like, I agree with you, Hack. He was brought in just for a backup in case, like you said, Crenshaw wasn't there. He got taken. Because usually, once again, you said it best, Mohammed, usually punters and kickers They don't get drafted. They're undrafted
Yeah.
free agents. And and not only do we draft him, usually, and if someone usually does draft a kicker or a punter in the draft, it's usually typically in the seventh round. Towards the end of the draft, like the last round, you're literally just, you're not like, well, in most cases, like other positions, you're like, well, we're drafting this guy to hope maybe he could be a solid, guy to have out there, not a starter, but just a good rotational piece that we could have that we could, we could benefit from. A kicker and punter, drafted in the draft itself, whether regardless if it's in the sixth or seventh round, drafting a kicker or punter and that even in those rounds, that's pretty much like a first round pick quarterback. Like, because most kickers and punters they go undrafted. So, and from my understanding, Crenshaw was wanted by other teams. Like there was other teams, just like with the tight end we talked about earlier, Lautner. The Jags were really wanting him. They had a contract already for him. They were going to get him if he didn't get drafted. He got drafted. It was the same thing with Crenshaw. There was teams out there that wanted him, had contracts ready, and the Browns were like, "Nope," swooped in and took him in the sixth round.
I
So
bet you Rizzy was in Sean Payton's ears. Get him, please. Somebody's gonna come and snap him. This is his guy.
yeah,
That's what we wanted. So I'm glad we
and you're
got him.
probably going to see. And Muhammad, I will throw this out there too. You'll probably see the same thing next year. Next year, I think Will Lutz is on his last year of his contract. There's going to be a kicker or something that freaking Rizzy is going to fall in love with in next year's draft, and he's going to be a paid and be like, "Get this kicker, get this kicker, get this kicker."
Just give him the guys he wants. He's really good, Eddie. I think our special team is gonna be really good this
Oh yeah.
season, and it's gonna make a big difference too.
Like I said, I don't even care if people want to call us the New Orleans, Broncos or the Denver Saints. I don't care. If these decisions that Rizzy, Peyton are making get us wins and get us Super Bowls, call us whatever you want. I really don't care. Just keep the colors, keep the uniforms, stay here in Denver. That's all I care about. Just win. So, but anything else tonight, Muhammad, before we get off here?
No, I just think that Sean Payton is building something special, and he's going under the radar. I think a lot of now they're kind of noticing, but a lot of the moves that Sean Payton is making is probably not being seen like the way it should be by the NFL. But Sean Payton said it best, Eddie. He said we're going to be a problem, and I believe him.
I do too. We're gonna be we're gonna be a thorn in everyone's side this year. It's gonna be like the Texans were a few years ago, like to where. Well, I'm maybe not 100% like the Texans, but we might lose to you, but you're gonna have to earn that win. You're gonna have to fight tooth and nail to earn it.
Exactly. It's not going to be
You
easy.
know, I'm not because like the Texans, they were they didn't have enough, but they would make you earn that win. The Broncos have enough. It's just going to be the other team played a little bit better, maybe has a little bit more power than we do, and they beat us. You know what I mean? But we're going to make you earn that win. And,
We just didn't have the talent, Eddie. We
yeah,
do now. We do now.
we have it now. It's there. It's just these guys got to show up and show out and
Exactly.
prove why we drafted them. So that's it for us tonight, guys. Like I said, we'll be back next week, next Saturday after the schedules get released on Wednesday, and we'll go over game by game. Me and Muhammad's reactions. We'll give you our wins, our loss predictions, and pretty much give you our record predictions and what we think the Broncos are going to do next year. And we can even talk about the whole AFC West as a whole and who's going to win, who's going to come in last, and we'll do all that next week after the schedule's released. But for now, can you guys please like, comment, subscribe on this video? Also hit that bell notification so you know when we go live. Muhammad, can't wait until Wednesday, man. Can't wait to see you next week and talk about the schedule release.
Yeah, me too, Eddie. We're getting closer to the season, so I like that.
Oh, yeah. Training camp's going to be here before we know it, man. But we will see you guys next week. Peace.